C University, though I dropped out.
What? So does that mean you only have a high school diploma? Huh? A high-rise apartment? Is he rich? Well then.
Are you really sure about this? It's not too late. I can go alone if you want. I just finished picking out a gift. My name is Mitsuki Kiryu. I'm a 26-year-old self-employed guy, about to visit the family home of my fiancée, Tsukiyo Nanase, to ask for her hand in marriage. We just got engaged and are starting to live together.
Yeah, I'm fine.
The reason I asked is because of her family situation. Tsukiyo is 4 years older than me. From what I've heard, her parents doted on her younger sister and treated Tsukiyo coldly. Because of that, she's barely seen them since graduating college.
Asking for permission to marry is something we should do together, right? I need to do things properly too.
Okay, I understand. I'll back you up as much as I can. After that exchange, we arrived at her parents' house. We'd arranged the date to coincide with her younger sister, Haruka, and her boyfriend, Kazuya Sakaki, being there. But
Mom, how's your back been, by the way? Oh, right. Kazuya, you work at M&I, don't you? So impressive. Just like your distinguished appearance.
wow, the M&I. That's quite something. My daughter certainly has good taste in men. It went on like this. No matter what Tsukiyo or I said, her parents ignored us and kept talking to Haruka and Kazuya. They're being really blatant about it.
Yeah, sorry.
We seem to have been talking only about ourselves. We should hear about you two as well, Mitsuki. As he passed the conversational baton to us, Kazuya shot me a wink with a smug, yet refreshing smile. Thanks, I guess, but man, this is annoying. Ah, right. So, Mitsuki, which university did you attend? C University, though I dropped out.
What? So does that mean you only have a high school diploma? Sis, are you serious? Well, I guess education isn't everything, but still. My boyfriend is an elite, you know. His education doesn't matter. He works hard, and he's precious to me. Oh, wow, that's lovely. I don't understand it, but...
Well, education isn't everything these days. Mitsuki, what do you do for work? Even as he said that, I didn't miss the fleeting, mocking smile he gave me. I'm self-employed. Actually now I'm... Self-employed? An uneducated young punk running his own business? That's no different from being a freeder.
Dad, wait, he's...
Tsukiyo, this is your problem. Aren't you ashamed of yourself at your age?
What's that supposed to mean?
Your younger sister Haruka grew up to be such a bright and considerate girl. And she brought home a fine boyfriend, a graduate of a top university working for a top company, putting our minds at ease. But you finally show up after ages and you're still as unsociable as ever. Is work your only redeeming quality? That's why you end up with a good-for-nothing freeloader like this guy, whose background we don't even know. Wait a minute. Say whatever you want about me, but talking about Tsukiyo like that isn't right, is it? She's your precious daughter, isn't she? I stared intently at her father. Then, unbelievably, he snorted with laughter, mocking me. Precious indeed. I hoped she'd catch a good man, but with you as her partner...
What do you mean by that? Apologize to him. He's...
Tsukiyo, it's okay. It doesn't seem like we can talk any further, so we'll be leaving now. Thank you for having us today. Do whatever you want. In the end, we couldn't even have a proper greeting. We basically just dropped off the gift and the marriage meeting ended on a terribly sour note. Tsukio, I'm sorry. You didn't want to go to a place like that, did you?
I'm the one who said I wanted to go. I'm used to it, and I gave up on them long ago. But hearing them talk about you like that, it's rough.
Saying that, Tsukio bit her lip tightly.
Hey, do you remember when we first met?
Nanase, I wanted to discuss this feature. Tsukio was the team leader at a client company where I was participating as an external member on a product back then. She was competent, but businesslike and blunt. I think she seemed isolated even from an outsider's perspective.
This is certainly convenient, but isn't it just confusing for the average person?
You think so too? I got it. I'll adjust it by 5 p.m., so please take another look then. Nanase, I've finished the adjustments. Please review it again.
Kiryu, no, it's nothing.
She looked at my face, her eyes widening slightly. I didn't miss the faint, somewhat happy smile that followed.
You know my personality, right? I say things bluntly, and my sharp gaze often makes me look scary. On top of that, for better or worse, I could handle anything skillfully, which probably made me seem even creepier. I try hard to at least seem amiable, but I couldn't do it well. That's why my parents doted on my charming sister. By the time I became an adult, I'd come to think of it as normal. It was around that time that I met you, with your sparkling eyes.
Well, your way of speaking is harsh, but I immediately knew you were just a bit awkward with words and fundamentally kind. Besides, well, sorry, you were totally my type, and honestly, I had ulterior motives.
I appreciate your honesty. You saved me. Just being with you makes my world shine. So please, don't get depressed over my insignificant family. You're my sun that brightens me up.
I really can't win against her. Seeing her gentle, moon-like smile, I fell in love with her all over again. I'm home. I'm beat. Later, Tsukio and I finished moving into our new place and officially started living together.
Thanks for working late again today.
Startups like ours run on a skeleton crew, you know? Tsukio, working at a large corporation with its own culture, often gets to leave on time, but I frequently work late into the night. Despite the differences in our work environments and lifestyles, living together was going smoothly. Today is a day off. We came to the park for a little picnic, thinking it would be nice to relax in nature once in a while. I wish moments like these could last forever.
You sound like an old man. But yes, I feel the same way. Hey, Mitsuki. Living together, have you started to think maybe you don't like me after all? I feel like I'm still saying harsh things to you, and it makes me anxious.
Not at all. I know you're considerate of me, Tsukio. It comes through clearly. Conversely, am I causing you any trouble?
No, Mitsuki respects me and shares the housework. Being with Mitsuki makes every day the best. You know, I always thought a happy family was something far removed from me. But living together, I've increasingly felt that maybe with Mitsuki, I can be happy.
Yeah, me too. With you, Tsukio, who can respect our differences, I think we can definitely be happy. For that to happen, I need to wrap up my current work quickly. And try harder to match my schedule with yours, Tsukio. Meanwhile...
Maybe I rushed into getting engaged to Kazuya. But then again, it's not often you find a guy you can easily manipulate and wrap around your finger.
Haruka was heading home after some shopping.
What's that? What do you want for dinner?
I'd love your Neapolitan pasta. Haven't had it in a while. I'll make the salad.
Huh? A high-rise apartment? Is he rich? Well then.
A few weeks later, Tsukiyo and I were back at her parents' house. We had received an invitation from Haruka. I never thought we'd come here again. Honestly, I thought if it happened, it'd be much later, and I'd be alone. I didn't want to bring Tsukiyo here anymore, but she herself strongly insisted.
I'd always given up, but thinking about it now, unlike when I was a child, it feels like I'm just running away. For our future together, I don't want to keep vaguely running away like this. Today, I'm cutting ties.
Don't push yourself too hard. Cutting ties isn't the only answer, and you have me now.
Yeah, thank you.
Taking a deep breath, we stepped into Tsukiyo's family home once again.
Mitsuki, here's some tea for you.
Just as I braced myself for whatever they might say, something unexpected happened. A complete change from their previous attitude. Tsukiyo's family started talking to me in cloyingly sweet voices. Yeah, thanks, but it seems there's no tea for Tsukiyo?
Oops, silly me. I'm so sorry.
Haruka said this, feigning disappointment with an exaggerated droop of her shoulders. Despite apologizing, she sat right back down, so I silently placed the tea in front of Tsukiyo.
I won't comment on the lack of tea for me. More importantly, can we get to the point? The reason we came today is...
Right, let's get to the point. The reason I called you two here today is... Mitsuki, break off your engagement with Tsukiyo and marry Haruka instead. Huh?
Haruka told me. You live in a high-rise apartment, don't you? I happened to see it and was so surprised. Isn't that where all the rich people live? And then I looked you up and found out you're a company president.
It finally clicked. They realized I had money, and that's why their attitude changed. After going independent, my business took off. A year ago, I incorporated and established MK Education Inc. Now, as a startup, the company is steadily growing. By the way, mistakenly saying I was self-employed the other day was just an old habit kicking in due to nervousness. Now, I'm glad I made that mistake.
Seriously, why didn't you tell me, sis? Because you guys said horrible things to Mitsuki before I could, didn't you? What was it again? Something like an uneducated young punk running his own business is no different from a part-timer?
Ah, that was my bad. But you can understand the misunderstanding, right? Dropping out of college and not having a steady job. Many people like that are indeed good-for-nothings.
Mitsuki dropped out of college because he started a business while still enrolled and got too busy with it. Besides, a part-timer is someone who works part-time or temporary jobs under an employment contract with a company. A self-employed person is someone who runs their own business without being employed by anyone. Dad, you seem to think they're the same, but a part-timer and a self-employed person are completely different.
Was that so? Wow, Tsukiyo, you're so knowledgeable. I'm so happy to have such a smart daughter.
Isn't this common knowledge? Making assumptions and looking down on someone without even knowing the difference? I'm utterly embarrassed by your lack of education, Dad. Weren't you an elite graduate from a prestigious university in the West, Dad? You were always bragging about it. Tsukiyo! What have you been saying to your parents all this time? Your father just made a little mistake, and you're blabbing on as if it's the shame of a lifetime. That's right. Everyone makes mistakes. Sis, you're too cold.
Her father nodded along vigorously to their words. And this guy graduated from a prestigious university? I knew the quality of students had dropped recently, but this seems like a different kind of poor quality altogether. Anyway, we seem to have strayed from the topic, so let me bring it back. The main point was that you want me to marry Haruka, correct? Yes, that's right.
Yes! Oh dear, I apologize for this unseemly display. Look, Tsukiyo might be good at her job, but, well, You see what she's like, right?
That's true. I met Tsukio through business, and even back then, she was an incredibly capable and wonderful person.
Really? But as a company president, you'll have occasions to introduce your wife to important people, right? Tsukio isn't capable of supporting her husband like that. On that note, Haruka excels in that area. We thought that for you, President Mitsuki, the charming and cute Haruka will be more suitable than such a flawed daughter.
They were technically my in-laws to be. I intended to maintain minimal courtesy, but support her husband? You guys really are rotten to the core, aren't you? I couldn't do it. It was too unpleasant. I couldn't hold back my laughter.
What kind of talk is that? Have you no manners?
Manners? I don't want to hear that from people who can't even teach manners to their own daughter. Isn't that why she grew up into such a shameless hussy?
What? You're not talking about me, are you?
Oh, I'm glad you realized. Well, trying to steal your sister's fiancé, that's an idea only a shameless hussy would come up with. If you hadn't realized, you'd be an even more irredeemable fool.
How rude! Saying that to our lovely Haruka? Apologize immediately.
Isn't it strange? You easily insult Tsukio, who is also your daughter. But the moment I say something slightly bad about Haruka, you react like this? If you want an apology, shouldn't you apologize to Tsukio first? Apologize for doting only on the charming and obedient younger sister, and for coldly treating the brilliant older sister who saw through her parents' terribleness early on and cut her losses.
What a rude man! Just like the man my sister chose. There's a limit to having bad taste. We wouldn't want you anyway.
Well now, Haruka, that's a bit...
What is it? Dad, are you saying it's okay for me to marry a man like this?
Well, you know that's true, but...
What's wrong with you? Isn't Haruka important to you?
Pressed by his wife and daughter, the father looked indecisive, sweating nervously. Seeing this, Tsukio, who had observed this family for years, seemed to understand.
Don't tell me you've already spent all your savings on the breakup settlement fee. Huh? What are you talking about? That can't be true, right, dear?
Well, Kazuya just wouldn't give up. Haruka said she definitely wanted to break up, and I thought if she married Mitsuki, there'd be no problem.
So it's true?
Sorry, but I thought if it was Haruka, Mitsuki would agree right away.
I see. By the way, how much did you pay for the settlement?
Asked by his wife, the father averted his gaze, sweating profusely. He remained silent, but unable to withstand the pressure from his wife and daughter, he mumbled in a small voice. 10 million.
10 million? What's the meaning of this? You don't need that much for a breakup settlement.
That's why I offered the standard amount, but Kazuya wouldn't give up. But I told Mom and Haruka that Dad would take care of it. And then he started talking about calling a lawyer, so I thought, how about 10 million?
So what if you paid that much money? You're already retired and jobless.
That's true, but if Haruka marries Mitsuki, it won't be a problem, right?
Even that got rejected. Right. Mitsuki, I'll approve your marriage to Tsukio. In return, you must support our family financially every month. Is that what you were going to say? Tsukio? Listen, you seem to be mistaken, but we didn't come here to ask for permission to marry. The reason we came all this way today is to cut ties between me and all of you. What? Until now, I said I'd given up, but somewhere deep down, I still hoped that if I achieved success at work, maybe I'd receive love like Haruka did. So I kept running away, but...
Saying that, Tsukio glanced at me. Our eyes met, and then she turned her strong gaze toward her family.
That day, the day we came for the marriage greeting, I was truly furious when you insulted Mitsuki. and I was disappointed. To think I have been clinging to people like this. I don't need you people. Not these ugly beggars who insult my precious Mitsuki and then shamelessly try to cozy up.
Ah, she truly has no regrets. There was no hesitation in Tsukio's eyes. Worried about her heart, I fell for her all over again, seeing her like this, and let out a soft sigh. Just then...
What? You're just a pitiful girl who couldn't even get the scraps of love meant for me.
Huh? Couldn't even get the scraps. That's wrong. These people are just bundles of narcissism. They doted on you because you were an idiot who listened to them and sided with them, right? Otherwise, they'd love their daughters equally, wouldn't they? Tsukio, who is beautiful, smart, and successful, is clearly a better woman than you, and she's their daughter just like you.
That's not...
Anyway, we've gotten sidetracked. I will marry Tsukio regardless of your approval or disapproval. When we marry, Tsukio becomes part of the Kiryu family. Therefore, I ask that you refrain from any unsolicited interference from now on.
Of course, we won't provide any financial support. It seems that for elites like you, a daughter marrying someone like him isn't important anyway.
The family who were supposed to be in-laws fell completely silent. Leaving them in their despair, we left the house. Afterwards, what happened to the in-laws whose savings had completely vanished? As if their previous closeness was a lie, every day became a storm of insults.
How long are you going to be unemployed? Failing even part-time interviews? There's a limit to incompetence.
What did you say? Then why don't you work and bring in some money? Fed up with it, Haruka tried to leave home, but was guilt-tripped about repaying their kindness with betrayal and ended up tearfully contributing money to the household. Apologies came to Tsukio's phone, but Tsukio blocked them completely. There was no way she could trust them now. A year and a half passed. Kazuya, who had received a large settlement, apparently decided to start his own business. But why? Before I knew it, I was drowning in debt. He failed spectacularly and was burdened with debt. The circumstances are different between a large company with an established foundation and a startup building from 0 to 1. It seems he didn't understand that at all. He tried to get back together with Haruka, only to be harshly rejected, told she didn't need any more burdens. Ah, it hurts. Tsukio, help me.
What are you doing? Seriously, I didn't know people actually did that. And it's my husband.
Meanwhile, Tsukio and I finally got married a year ago. Now, 6 months after the wedding, we're in Rome for our honeymoon. You gotta do this at least once when you come to Rome, right? Okay, where should we go next?
Honestly. Well then, shall we go get some pizza? I'm curious about the difference from Naples. Which of all the cities we visited made the deepest impression on you?
Each one made its own impression. Rome. By all means, Rome. I shall cherish my visit here in memory as long as I live.
And may I ask why?
Because I'm with the person I love right now. I love you, Tsukio. Meeting you has made me the happiest man in the world.
I love you too. But this is the last time I'm putting up with this routine. Unlike a Roman holiday, we can stay together like this forever.
I'm sure there's still so much we don't know about each other. In the long years to come, how many new things will I learn about Tsukio? There might be times when our differences confuse us, but I'm sure we can overcome them together.
I'm so happy Tsukio cut ties with her family. Her family is just wow. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel.